Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was a sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How, then, am I mad? Listen, and observe how healthily, how calmly, I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me so. Object, there was none. Passion, there was none. I liked my friend. He had never wronged me, he had never given me insult. For his possessions I had no desire. I think it was his laugh. Yes, it was this. He had the most insufferable chuckle I had ever heard. Whenever he felt joy, I was in pain, and so I made up my mind to take the life of my friend, and thus rid myself of his laughter forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight I went to work. Each night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. I moved in slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb my friend's sleep. It took me what seemed like an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Ha! Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I watched my friend sleep. Strangely, while there at the doorstep of his room, I couldn't help but think of what I was about to do, and how I would miss my friend. You see, it was not the man who vexed me, but his oh-so irritating laugh. And every morning, when the day broke, I acted as if nothing was amiss.
Hey Brian, how are you? How'd you sleep last night?
Fine, thanks.
So you see, he would have been a very profound man indeed to suspect that each night, just at 12, I looked upon him while he slept. Upon the fourth night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my powers. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. As a matter of fact, as I recall that night, he was so peaceful in his dreams that he was laughing in his sleep. Laughing! The very sound of his obnoxious laugh drove me mad. And have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound. It was the beating of my friend's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage. I held steady, preparing myself for what I was about to do. I have told you that I am nervous, so I am. Now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. His time had come! With a loud yell, I threw open the door and leaped into the room. He shrieked once only, and in an instant, I pulled a pillow over his head. It was done. I removed the pillow and examined the corpse. He was stone dead. His laughter would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily but in silence. I dismembered the corpse and put the remains in a black bag. There is where I tied the bag closed and decided to move to the kitchen, where I would place the bag under the sink to take out to the garbage in the morning. When I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock. Still dark as midnight, finally the deed was done. Now in the dead of the night, I couldn't help but feel a great calm come over me. Suddenly, without warning, I became violently ill, A piercing sound struck my ears, creating a sharp pain in my brain. A pain so very fierce, the noise was so deafening, that I could not make out anything around me. Until... there. It couldn't be. He was dead. I chopped him into 1,000,000 pieces. It is... oh, God! It was the beating of his hideous heart. My mind was racing and it grew louder, louder, louder. What seemed like an eternity passed, and I was terrified, seeing no end in sight. Anything was better than this agony. I panicked. There was only one thing I could do.
911? I'd like to report a murder. Who's the victim? My roommate. Who's the murderer? Me.